Imagine this, a rainy night in the city, horns blaring, headlights cutting through the downpour like knives. A woman in a tailored black coat steps off the curb, phone glued to her ear, completely unaware that a delivery truck is barreling straight toward her. 1 second more and it's over. But out of nowhere, a man actually dives, through the crowd, shoulder checks her out of the way, and takes the impact himself. The truck screeches to a stop. People scream. The woman scrambles to her feet, stunned, searching for the person who just saved her life, and he's already gone. Vanished into the river of umbrellas like he was never there. She never even saw his face. That actually happened 3 years ago in downtown Seattle, and tonight, for the first time, you're going to meet both of them, and find out why he disappeared. My name is Elena Voss. Back then, everyone knew me as the 32-year-old, Ice Queen, CEO who turned a failing payment app startup into a billion-dollar company in 4 years. Forbes cover, keynote stages, the whole thing. I worked 18-hour days, lived in penthouses I barely saw, and hadn't taken a real vacation since college. My assistant scheduled my bathroom breaks. I was proud of it. I thought feelings were inefficient. That night I was on the phone yelling at the board about a missed earnings call when I stepped into the crosswalk against the light. I didn't hear the truck. I didn't see anything until I was suddenly on the wet pavement with a stranger's arms around me and the sickening thud of metal hitting flesh 10 feet away. When I looked up, all I caught was the back of a soaked gray hoodie disappearing between bodies. Someone shouted, "He's hurt." But the man kept moving, limping, one hand pressed to his side, and melted into the crowd before ambulances even arrived. Security footage later showed he'd been carrying a little girl's pink backpack the whole time. He never let go of it, even when he hit the ground. I spent weeks trying to find him. Posted on every forum, offered a reward, had my PR team plaster his blurry silhouette across the news. Nothing. The man didn't want to be found. Fast forward 3 years. My company had just gone public. The IPO party was held on a yacht in Elliott Bay. Champagne, string quartet, investors kissing my ring. I was giving my toast, something polished about grit and vision, when the caterers opened the lower deck doors and a little girl, maybe 7 years old, came running straight to the dessert table. Bright yellow rain boots, 2 messy braids, chocolate already on her cheeks. She looked so out of place among the tuxedos that everyone smiled. And then I saw the man holding her hand. Same height, same broad shoulders, same quiet way of scanning a room like he was counting exits. The scar over his left eyebrow that I'd memorized from the security stills. He was in a simple black button-down, sleeves rolled up, forearms covered in faint white lines like he'd been burned once. He lifted the girl so she could see the cake better, and when she laughed, he laughed too, small, private, like the sound was only meant for her. I dropped my champagne flute. It shattered. Every head turned. He looked up, met my eyes for half a second, and I saw it, recognition, then something close to fear. He scooped the little girl into his arms and started moving toward the exit. I ran. Heels, evening gown, didn't care. I caught him at the top of the gangway. "It's you," I said, voice cracking in a way the Ice Queen was never supposed to let happen. 3 years. I looked everywhere. He shifted his daughter higher on his hip. She was staring at me with huge brown eyes and chocolate smeared across one cheek. "You don't owe me anything," he said quietly. "Really? Please, just let us go home." "What's your name?" I asked. It sounded desperate even to me. He hesitated. The little girl whispered something in his ear. "Lucas," he finally said. "And this is Mia." Mia waved. "Hi. Do you like chocolate cake?" That was how I met Lucas Harper, single dad, night shift ER nurse, the man who saved my life and then vanished because he was late to pick up his daughter from daycare and couldn't afford another fee. He only agreed to talk that night because Mia begged to finish her cake. We sat on a bench near the water while she chased fireflies with my CFO's bewildered 9-year-old. The city sparkled behind us, but Lucas looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Here's what he told me, piece by piece, over the next hour and then over the months that followed. 5 years earlier, Lucas's wife, Sarah, was diagnosed with a rare lung cancer while 6 months pregnant with Mia. They fought hard, chemo, experimental trials, every penny they had. Lucas worked double shifts as a paramedic. Sarah died 3 weeks after Mia was born. The medical bills were over $800,000. Insurance covered less than half. Collection agencies started calling when Mia was still in the NICU. Lucas did what he had to do. Sold the house, moved into a 1-bedroom apartment above a laundromat, took the night shift nursing job because it paid an extra $4 an hour. He carried Mia in a sling while he studied for his RN exams. She learned to walk in hospital corridors. Every extra dollar went to the debt. He hadn't had a full night's sleep in 4 years. The night he saved me, he was already 2 hours late for daycare pickup because a trauma rolled in at shift change. He was covered in someone else's blood, exhausted, praying the daycare wouldn't charge him for the extra hour he literally didn't have. That's why he ran after pushing me out of the way. Not modesty. Survival. If he lost that job, he lost Mia. He saw the news stories about the mystery hero. Saw my company offer a $100,000 reward. He never called. Money with strings, he said. And I had enough strings. I didn't know what to do with that. I'd spent my whole life believing everything had a price. That night on the yacht, I tried to hand him a check for $1 million. He looked at it like I'd offered him poison. I didn't save you for a reward, Elena. Then why did you save me? He thought about it, watching Mia spin under the string lights. Because somebody should get to live long enough to be there for the people who need them, he said. You looked like you still had people who needed you. I wasn't sure I did anymore. I started crying. I hadn't cried since I was 12. That was the beginning. I wish I could tell you it was one cinematic gesture and everything fixed itself. It wasn't. Lucas wouldn't take money. Not outright. So I got creative. First, I created an anonymous scholarship fund for children of first responders who lost a parent to cancer. Made sure Mia's preschool was fully covered, plus aftercare, plus summer camp. Lucas figured it out in about 2 weeks and showed up at my office ready to fight. You don't get to buy absolution, he told me. I'm not, I said. I'm paying forward what someone should have done for you. He hated that I was right. Then his hospital announced layoffs. Night shift was being cut. He was going to lose his benefits, the debt would swallow him whole. I offered him a job, head of community outreach for my new nonprofit wing. Same pay he was making, better hours, full insurance. He turned it down flat. I'm not a charity case. No, I said. You're the most qualified person on the planet for this job, because you actually know what it's like to be terrified your kid won't have health insurance. Take it or don't, but don't insult me by pretending it's pity. He took it. Grudgingly. Working together every day was complicated. I was used to boardrooms and private jets. Lucas was used to trauma bays and 3 a.m. feedings. I scheduled meetings like military operations. He showed up 10 minutes late with Mia's glitter stickers on his sleeve and apologized with fresh donuts for the entire team. I thought emotions were weakness. He carried so much quiet grief it felt like a third person in every room. But slowly, things shifted. I started leaving my office at 6 instead of midnight. He taught me how to make dinosaur-shaped pancakes on Saturday mornings when Mia demanded I come over, for quality control. I learned that he sang old Johnny Cash songs when he thought no one was listening. He learned that the Ice Queen melted completely when a 7-year-old asked her to read The Princess and the Goblin for the 87th time in 1 month. One night, 8 months after the yacht, we were working late on a grant proposal. Mia had fallen asleep on the couch in my office under Lucas's jacket. Rain tapped the windows the same way it had that night 3 years ago. I looked over and saw him watching her instead of the screen. "What?" I asked. "Just thinking," he said. 3 years ago I thought I was done. That life was something that happened to other people. And now, he gestured at the sleeping child, at me, at the impossible warmth of the room. I reached across the desk and took his hand. Calluses, faint burn scars, the hand that once shoved me out of the path of a truck. "Lucas," I said. "I owe you my life. But somewhere along the way I think you gave me a new one. One that actually feels like living." He looked at me for a long time. "I was afraid," he said, voice rough. "Afraid if I let anyone close, I'd lose them too. But Mia, she picked you. Kids don't lie about that stuff." Then he kissed me, slow and careful, like he was still waiting for the world to snatch it away. It's been 2 years since that night. Last month, Lucas and I got married on a ferry boat at sunset. Mia insisted on being flower girl and captain's assistant. She wore yellow rain boots under her dress, for luck. We didn't have a fancy reception. We had pancakes at the diner where Lucas used to study between shifts, surrounded by the nurses and paramedics who helped him keep Mia alive when he was drowning. The debt is gone. Paid off through a mix of the non-profit work, some very clever restructuring I handled personally, and one very stubborn man who insisted on paying his own way as long as he could. Sometimes people still recognize me from the old Forbes covers and ask whatever happened to the mystery hero. I just smile and say, he's at home helping our daughter with her science fair volcano. Because Mia is ours now. Legally, emotionally, in every way that matters. She calls me Lena Bean because she couldn't say Elena when she was 4, and it stuck. And every year on the anniversary of the night Lucas saved me, the 3 of us go back to that crosswalk downtown. We stand there in the rain, no umbrellas, and we leave a single pink tulip on the corner. Mia says it's for the angels who watched over Daddy that night. Lucas says it's just a flower. I know better. It's proof that sometimes the universe throws you into traffic not to end your story, but to start a better one. So if you're watching this and you think heroes only exist in movies, or that one person can't change everything, or that it's too late for second chances, remember a tired single dad in a soaked hoodie who dove without thinking. Remember that sometimes the people who save us aren't wearing capes. They're just carrying a little girl's pink backpack, and trying to make it to tomorrow. If this story moved you even a little, do me a favor, hit that like button, drop a comment with the moment that hit you hardest, and subscribe for more real stories about real people proving that love and kindness still win. Because trust me, we all need more of that right now. See you in the next one. And maybe, keep an eye out for the quiet ones in the crowd. They might just be saving the world, one stranger at a time.